and I'm right back at it. So, yeah, this is Militia Uncut. I am K, one of the three that are on this show, K, D, and C. We have been doing this for a long time. And when I say a long time, not like years and years and years like other YouTubers, but in terms of consistent weeks for the most part, from February up until now in September, it's been a long journey. I think we've all gone through a lot from that point up until now. A lot of things have changed. We had B on the show. B's not on it anymore. So, we've had a lot of changes. And here we are now, nearing the end of the run. So just to kind of put a cap on the journey so far, I wanted to rank all of our weeks from 2 to 20. I feel like that's really the bulk of where the show was, because at week 21 we started to fall off, and then I've been doing the throwback week and special week. So those are different ones that don't really count. So I wrote it all down, so I'm just getting my notebook out because I don't want to say it in the wrong order. But yeah, so this is my ranking of the show. I'm not going to do clips this time. I'm just going to show some like pictures that show like the different weeks and stuff that we've been through, and all of that. So let's just get right into it. I don't want this video to be super duper long. Yeah, I wrote it down where, because didn't I? See, the thing is, I wrote this list twice. I think I edited some things. Yeah, this looks about right. Yeah, so let's get into it. So at the bottom of the list, I'm gonna say is hold on. I haven't done a ranking video before, so this is all real new to me. So bear with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 to 20. Yeah, that is 19. Okay, all right. Well, coming in at number 19 is week 9. Now the thing with week 9 is that there's nothing inherently wrong with it. There's just no episode in that week that stands out to me. I think it's just, we just talked and we said things, we had discussions, and we were at B's house. And yeah, that was kind of it. I mean, I don't know. I just can't really think of any moment that really stood out to me. The only thing about that week that I'll give credit to, sadly, is that was the week when we found out that Nipsey Hussle had died. And we found out like while we're filming. It wasn't even in between episodes. It was like during an episode. D saw it on his phone, and we just kind of had to take a moment. So that was, and I think that changed the energy. So, which is another reason why I put it at the bottom. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm gonna just kind of keep going through. Next at number 18 is gonna be week 3. Week 3, I think, is just a week where we kind of tried to make the most with what we had. It was the KD Chronicles. So the first time me and D were in the car talking, and some episodes are cool, some episodes, I don't know. It's like, it was one of those weeks where not everybody showed up and we didn't get to do what we had planned. So that's kind of why I rank it a little low. Just because, I don't know, when we think of like videos that we'd go back to and rewatch, um, that one just doesn't seem to really be on the list. So that's why I put that one lower. Number 17, I'm gonna say, is week 6. I put week 6 there just because, again, we didn't get to do the full amount. So the goal was to always do 7 episodes, and that was a week where we didn't get to do all 7. I had my younger sister as a guest, and she didn't get to stay. She wasn't feeling well that week. Dee didn't really like that excuse, but we did as many episodes as we could with her, and I like the stuff that we talked about. I like having my little sister be there with me, and seeing her energy, and we had some good conversations about like relationships and how women look at things. So it was a nice added perspective. So when we got a couple episodes in there that in that week that I really enjoy. The first time Dee like fell asleep during the episode, so that's like really funny. Which leads me to number 16, which is week 14. Week 14 is Dee's solo week. Now, as far as solo weeks go, those are really hard to do. Even now, me doing this is not like fun, because it's like I'm just kind of talking to the camera, which is harder to do, which is why I did the podcast, because the podcast is kind of more comfortable, because I don't have to, there's no cameras on me, and I can just kind of be myself and just kind of talk, and you just listen. But in terms of like watching, it's hard to really keep interest, especially if we're trying to do like 30-minute videos all by ourselves. So those are hard. I give Dee credit for doing all 7, and trying to get through it as best as he could without all of us there. He had some episodes where he said some funny things, and then he had one episode where he really said some real things, and that's my personal favorite out of that week. Yeah, so moving right along, at number 15 is week 7. Now, week 7 is, I think, the episode where we started to catch a groove as far as like K, D, and C doing things in terms of being in the car. It kind of started that tradition. If you watch throughout, I think that's really where it began, and it begins this energy of picking these topics that are really like hot button topics. And that was the week where we discussed the Michael Jackson documentary, and it was real. It was real in terms of how we all felt individually about it, and me being such a big Michael Jackson fan, it's hard to discuss documentaries like that. So that was a good one. Coming in at number 14. Yep, 14. Trying to get this right. Is week 4. Week 4 is my solo week. So, that week is special to me, and honestly, a lot of people haven't watched that week, and I understand why. Because again, it's a solo week, and it's not as funny, nowhere near as funny, because there's no one for me to bounce off of. So, and I tried to have some good things to talk about. I talked about church, I talked about my father, I talked about the Oscars, and I talked about mental health. And that episode is one of my favorites, like in my top 20. It's one of my favorites, and I do feel like it's something you guys should check out. I try my best to be as informative as I could, and it was a really important topic, and it just kind of hit me, and it was something that came from the heart that I felt I needed to talk about that day. So that's why it really rings strong for me. And I don't know, it was just something that I felt needed to be said. I consider week 4 to be like the test run for my podcast, because it's kind of like the beginning of things that I would talk about on my podcast. So I consider that like the beginning phases for me before I even really knew that that was something I wanted to do. But I think that solo week is what inspired me to start my podcast, because it was a different energy than what the show normally is, and I think that tone just works better on a podcast. So that's why I did it, and I'm glad I did it, and I thank that week for it. So that's where it is. But in terms of the show, it's lower because, again, not everybody's there, so it's hard to really rank it too high. Coming in at number 13 is week 12, another KD week. Now, I went back and watched that week, and that week is cool because the topics that we talked about, I think we did good in terms of keeping things interesting throughout all 7 episodes. A lot of times you can tell like near 6 and 7, like when we're starting to get tired or burn out. And I think we did a little bit better with it that week. And, you know, again, it's harder when not everybody is there. But I think week 12 is special because the Power Rangers episode I really, really love. And there's another episode where I think that's the origin of when Dee was talking about starting the reality show for the love of K. So that was really funny. And the only reason I don't really like it as much is because it has a lot of the we talk a lot about like the issues within the group, and you know it's like you could start to see that we were getting like irritated with the way certain things were going in terms of like the group dynamic, and you guys got to watch that, and that is more or less a precursor to Elephant in the Room, but you know, it is what it is, and we tried our best. I tried my best to not go like super hard with the frustration, but you know, sometimes you just got to be real, and that's the point of the show. Week 19 is going to be the next one for me. Actually, no, I forgot I had to switch that. I'm going to put week 18 there. So that is number 12. At number 12, yes, at number 12, I'm going to put week 18. And I'm putting 18 there because that was the week that C was by himself. And I was surprised because I didn't think that I was going to like that week that much, because C had been like getting us ready. He was like, yo, when it's my turn, like I'm going to say some wild stuff. But that episode actually was pretty entertaining. That week is pretty entertaining. He talks about a lot of different things, and it's just, you know, you get to really see him as him. And also that week is the week of our 100th episode. And that episode is hilarious to me because it is our 100th episode, and one out of the 4, I repeat, 1 out of the 4 militia members was there that week. How does that even make sense? I don't know, but it is what it is. And that week, C was with his girlfriend, so that was cool, and that was a first for Militia having a girlfriend on the show, and I like their energy. Those 2 episodes that they had together were kind of nice, so I give C credit. You actually pulled off a decent week. You messed up because you let me, if you're watching this, see, you messed up because you let me edit the episodes. So a lot of the real wild and crazy stuff you were saying near the end, I took those out because I wasn't trying to get in no trouble on YouTube. So, you know, we already say enough wild and controversial stuff as it is. So, yeah. Coming in at number 12, I believe. I'm sorry, I keep losing count. 13, 12. No, coming in at number 11 is going to be week 20. Yeah. I'm going to go with week 20. Week 20 starts off with C and D by themselves, which is a first, you know, but it was cool to just watch like their energy with each other, and just kind of like, I don't know, their moments of telling stories. C tells a lot of stories in those episodes, so I like that, and just seeing them like in their element, just as the two of them, it's kind of fun to see what the show is like without me on it, because it's actually really rare. There's only a handful of episodes that I'm not in, so to see those is like, wow, that's like how the show goes without me, you know. And not that it's like drastically different, but it's just, you know, you're watching just their friendship and it's isolated, so it's different. Later I rejoined the show, and it has one of my favorite episodes, the Clifford the Big Red Dog episode. That one is just funny. I have no other real explanation. It's just really, really fun. You gotta watch it. You gotta check it out. So there's that. Now we're entering in at our top 10. Shout out to Sean Chandler and his YouTube channel. His ranking videos are so like cool and edited. So, you know, I just don't know how to do that yet, and I'm not like, I don't have all the apps and technology to do it yet, but yeah, I'm doing my best. So yeah, in our top 10, I'm gonna go with week 19. Week 19 is K&D again. And it's funny because we didn't get to do the full week. One, we started recording late. Two, I had to do my laundry. Three, I had to go to work. So, you know, and that kind of was starting to show like the conflict, like the scheduling conflicts in terms of like getting everybody together and recording the show. So, you know, it started to get harder for me to do it just because of the way my job schedule was around that time. But I actually really like all the episodes that we did. The Dave Chappelle episode is hilarious. The Love, Hate, and Rambling is a really good episode. It's deeper than I thought it was gonna be, but it's actually really cool. We have one video that has like rarely any views, but we were talking about like sequels and remakes to movies and stuff, and it was like a really good episode. So check that out if you haven't already. That one is the John Wick and Hobbs and Shaw episode. So that's what we was talking about. So yeah, watch it. Number 9 is going to be week 11. Yeah, week 11 is a short week. And it's a short week because B never uploaded the rest of the week. So it was just like, those episodes are just kind of like lost to time. I'm going to try to get them back if I can. But if not, you know, hey, I'm sorry. But out of the episodes that we got, we had some good ones, some really good discussions. It's one of the rare, sadly, one of the rare weeks where all 4 of us are there. So we all are trading off of each other and just giving our different opinions, which was one of the main reasons we wanted to do the show, because the 4 of us are actually very different people. So to just show where we stand on certain things and what attracts us to certain things and certain people, it was really cool. And there's a lot of episodes in that week that are missing, and I don't remember anymore, but I know I was complaining a lot because there was one episode where I said something pretty real, and it was just like a good story, and I just wanted people to like watch it. But you know, it is what it is. It's whatever now. But week 11 is really good. My favorite out of that is the ghostwriting with consent episode. Me and C have like a big conversation in terms of like our differences between songwriters and ghostwriters and rappers and singers, and it's just like a really good conversation. So again, check it out. Coming in at number 8 is going to be week 17. Yes. Yep. Yeah, number 8 is week 17. Week 17 is K and C's week. Again, another rare week because that's one of the ones where it's just K and C, and D is rarely not on the show. So that was different. That week is special to me just because my friendship with C is real unique. And if you looked at our different personalities on paper, we shouldn't be friends. Like, it shouldn't work. But somehow we find that common ground. And I think that week is just the example of our common ground. And we talk about a lot of different things. The ethics and actions episode is really, is my favorite out of the week. And then we have the Empire and Star episode, the episode where we're just talking about our music, the episode where C talks about like gangs and gang culture. That was really informative to me. So that's just a really strong week, and we didn't know if we were gonna finish all 7. So that was like fun for us, just trying to make sure that we like actually did it, because we wanted to show D that we could like pull it off without him there. So we did, and I'm happy about that. Coming in at number 7 is week 2. The very first week that we uploaded, at least. It's actually amazing how strong that first week is. We have a lot of funny episodes. We talked about Liam Neeson and Beyonce. We talked about threesomes. We talked about the greatest like scams ever. We were talking about like award shows and our moms and baby moms and all that other stuff. It was just like that week is the template for how every other week would go. And again, it started off with 4 of us, and I just missed the energy when all 4 of us were together. We haven't really done that in a long time. So, you know, it was cool, and I really appreciated that start. And I wasn't sure how the show was going to work and how we would end up ultimately, but I think that first week showed me that like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like, I like doing this, so let's just keep it going and see where, you know, we end up. So, and now we're here. Number 6 is week 16. Week 16 is the first week with me at this house. So that was cool, like living here. Because before I lived at my mom's, and now I'm living with my pops. So this was like my first week after finally making that move, making that transition. So that was cool. And then what episode is in that week? Oh, The Biggest Curve is in that week. Yeah. That is a really funny episode. I think, what's the other one? The Crying Man. Yeah. So that's a good episode. I really bangs with those. And it's just, again, bringing the energy, bringing the controversial, like, topics. And sometimes they're not even controversial. They're just fun things to discuss, fun memories, embarrassing memories. Like, and it's just us being bros, like, you know. And I say that for all the weeks, but it is just like, if you watch it, just some certain weeks, like, the energy is just really, really strong. So that's why I rank them higher. And week 16, we was just going at it, like video after video after video. Like we didn't really stop to take breaks. It was like once we finished one video, right back at it with another one. Like we just kept stopping and press stop and play, stop and play. So that was just like really fun, for me at least, because there was really no downtime. It was just like, all right, let's just keep talking, let's just keep talking, let's keep, bringing up topics and discussing things. So again, when it just comes to like having that energy, it was really, really strong that week. Now, top 5. Here we go. Week 13. Week 13 is cool because I wore my African shirt that day that my girlfriend actually had bought for me. She wasn't my girlfriend at the time, but hey. Now she is, and I'm happy about it, but I digress. Shout out to you, babe. Week 13 was cool because week 13 has the top 5 porn stars, the top 5 rappers. What else did we talk about? I talked about like certain regrets and moving forward and having like a new energy about life. So that was cool. And we talked about like TV shows and different shows that we liked and whatnot. Week 13 is actually way funnier than I remembered. Because I remember going back, I was like, yo, I don't even really remember week 13. And then when I went back and watched it, I was like, oh, week 13 is wow funny. And that the energy starts off really, really good. I think week 13 starts off strong. I think it doesn't end as strong as it starts. But the first like 4 episodes are really, really just funny. Like right out the gate, we're like, yo, let's get into some shit. And that was it. Like we was just discussing so many different things. The top 5 rapper episode I really, really like because it just shows like our different tastes in music. And it was just a fun conversation. Week number 4, number 4, coming in at number 4 is week 15. Week 15 is basically the elephant in the room week because 3 out of the 7 episodes are about that. And that was really where everything kind of like came to an implosion. And that week was not at all what I had planned on it being, but it was necessary. Sadly, it's the last week of the show that has all 4 of us, or all 4 original members there. And we really haven't been the same since that week, and I think it shows in the later weeks because it just kind of like kept changing, and we never really picked up that same momentum again, even though there's good moments and good episodes, a lot of good episodes actually. But as far as like the group dynamic, we haven't really been the same since that week. So, and it's the last week where B is there like full time. He made like 1 appearance by himself in week 17, and that was it. But after that, B wasn't on the show anymore. So in terms of it being like the last week that has him on it, that's one reason why it's definitely up there for me. But the Elephant in the Room series is just a real like good look at brotherhood and our dynamic as brothers, as friends, as cousins, whatever you want to call us. And it shows how we can have a real discussion. We can get, serious, we can get loud, but we can joke at the same time, and we can still come together and just like come to a conclusion about things and still work through our issues. And it's a good example of communication and discussing things the right way, I guess. And just teaches you to be honest and open, which again, beating a dead horse here, but it's the point of the show. So that's why it's up there for me. Now, coming in at week number three, sorry. I keep doing that. Coming in at number three is week 8. Now, I've been saying all week that week 8 is like a really, really great week. And the reason I say that is just because, again, week 7 was like that start of the being in the car and saying some things. But there's like that week is just there's good episodes, and then there's other episodes where it kind of just like meanders. But I think in week 8, D is on like top form comedy wise. We all were being like so funny, especially in the beginning. Like episodes 2, 3, and 4 are like hilarious, and those are all in D's top 5. So you gotta watch week 8 because clearly, and all of us picked at least one episode from week 8 in our top 5 episodes. So that just goes to show you how good that week is, because that week just is classic Militia. Like when you think of what Militia is about, week 8 is that week. Like you just have to see it. All the conversations that we had about our exes and past relationships and just ways we go about relationships is just really funny. And also it actually gets really real for me at the end of that week. That was a week when I was trying to figure out where I stood with this girl that I liked, and live on the show it shows me like attempting to talk to this girl and figure out what was going on. And it was just really, really crazy. And you just kind of like follow it throughout the night. So from episodes like 5 to 7, you just kind of like see everything as it plays out. And again, it was wild because I knew I was on camera and I didn't want to do most of that while I was on camera, but it was like I did. But it's cool because I think whenever I go back and watch it, I get to see my mindset at that time and where I was at, and I can watch episodes of the show and know exactly what point in my life I was at during that time. And it's like a good snapshot, a good time capsule. And at the end of the last episode, I started crying because I just had like this breakdown because there was so much going on, and I just kind of like finally let it out and released it. And D turned off the camera, so you guys didn't really get to see it when it got to that point. But that's just another reason for me personally why week 8 is in the top for me. And you would think that with all of us talking about week 8, you would think that would be like the best week of the show. But there are 2 weeks that top it for me. The first one is at number 2 is week 10. Week 10 again is a week that has all 4 of us there, which is another reason why it's special. Because as great as week 8 is, B is not there. Now if B was there too, week 8 would probably be number 1. But just having all 4 of us there, I think, is important to me in terms of like my favorite weeks, because again, it's the point of the show. That's what we started with, and I just miss B's like random and funny energy. So week 10 we did 2 episodes about Nipsey Hussle and his influence and what his death meant to all of us. And then we just started having like these fun conversations. This is when B started his rapid fire questions, which I wish we had done more of, looking back on it. Week 10 has the episode where where I started talking about my birthday. So we did like a couple episodes where we was just talking about what we were gonna do for my birthday, and then now for the militia party, which we're still having. But the dynamics of it have greatly changed since when I first discussed it. We started talking about like our goals and things like that, and we talked about like toxic energy, toxic relationships. So it was just really, really good discussion, and it's great discussion between all 4 of us. And I think as a team, we haven't really been stronger than that. Now, again, with that energy, you would think, why isn't it at number one if it has all four of you? Well, the reason why is because week 5, which is number one, has 5 people in it, which we never have done ever again. So it was just like straight all the way through the week. We had a guest with us, which was my big sister, T. And it was just one, it was all 4 of us. And then on top of that, adding my big sister and adding the woman's perspective on a lot of different topics. And we were just, there's no week like it. Like I can't describe it, but just there's strength in numbers. And I think that's why that week is so strong, because we're 5 men strong going in it and just discussing life. And my sister was very real and open, and I commend her and thank her for doing that, because she had talked about like her past marriage, and she was talking about like her experiences with like smoking weed and different things. And then we were all talking about like regrets. I had talked about my aunt's death and my breakup, and that was like a really, really deep thing. But we also had a lot of fun because we were talking about Valentine's Day, and we were talking about how each of us is romantic in relationships. And then I can't even think of like all the other conversations that we had, but that week was probably the most fun I had on the show. And it's my greatest memory, and I think our energy is never better than that week. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but that's just my personal ranking. So that's it. And again, go back and check it, because even though I've ranked all of them, there's no other than, aside from week 9, there's no week that doesn't have one episode that like, at least one episode that I really, really, really enjoy and that I think is super strong. So I compel you, if you haven't, to please check us out and watch our moments. I honestly don't think there's any other show on YouTube like our show, because it's so raw, like because we don't have the effects or the different like cuts, we don't have the editing, we don't have the thumbnails even, like it's just raw energy. And again, it may not be the most attractive, we don't have like background music and all that other stuff, but it's just people discussing their lives and discussing how we feel about things, whether we're right or wrong, and it's just awesome. And if we never do another episode, I hope that we can finish it. I wanted to do one last week to really, finish it off with everybody here. But if we don't do another episode, I just want everyone to know that like this has been a great phase of my life. And I'm thankful for all the moments that we had on the show, good and bad. And it's just a snapshot of our friendship. And, if anybody out there needs an example of what good friendship is, this is it. And this is what family is. So, and there's nothing better than a good family. So that's how I'm going to end it. Thank you for watching. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, comment, share, and support. Yeah.